The soft plastic jerkbait, also known as the fluke, can be used by any angler no matter the experience, beginner to advanced. It also can catch fish anywhere throughout the country, from ponds, lakes, rivers, and streams. And today in this video, we're going to give you guys some extra tips, some extra tricks to help you put more fish in the boat on one of the most versatile lures in bass fishing. Right now is the time to get the fluke out. Welcome back to Bass Fishing Declassified. I'm going to share with you guys why right now, no matter where you live in the country, it is time to get this bait out and throw it to catch some fish. Then guys, I'm going to share with you a little modification I like to do with the fluke near the end of my segment. During the springtime period, what I like to do, typically the middle of the spawn, what I think is the middle of the spawn to the post spawn, is when I really want to get this guy out. This can catch fish that are spawning and that post spawn. Now I know some guys, before you make a comment, I'm not saying we're going to go sight fish with this, okay? Because I know where I'm not talking about that. We're saying, you know, during this phase of the year, the spawn to post spawn period. So what happens is, guys, let's say it's a cloudy day. I like to pick your coves, I like to pick your flats, okay, that I might think fish are spawning at. On a cloudy day, I'm going to go up there on the spawning flats and fish the fluke. I'm going to fish it two ways. The first way I like to fish it is really, really fast and then kill it, okay? I'm here twitching it. I'm getting this guy to jump around and then I will stop, okay? Now, the other way I'll fish it is by fishing it just your normal, slow, throw it out there, count to 3, 4, depending on your water depth, let it sink, and then twitch it back slow to the boat. Now, after I fish that flat, I'm going to work my way out to the first areas that those fish could go to. It could be a point. It could be, you know, let's say there's a drop out there, and if the water's real clear, guys, they actually can see this thing from a long ways away. Now, guys, if it's a sunny day, I'm going to do the opposite. I'm going to start off on your points, your secondary points, and then work my way in. Just something easy I found out during this time of year. Guys, like I said, I used to catch a lot of fish on this lure. I typically was fishing near clear bodies of water, but the Arkansas River, I go catch fish with this there too as well. This is the Strike King Caffeine Shad. A lot of people know about the Strike King Caffeine Shad. Great lure. One thing I like about it is a little bigger profile and it's heavier. Now another fluke I'm going to share with you guys, it's a newer brand. I mean, they've been out for, you know, for a couple years, but it's been hitting the market now, is the 6 cents. Okay, this is 6 cents flush. It's a they advertise as a 5.2 inch soft plastic jerkbait. It is not as heavy as the Caffeine Shad, but is still a bigger profile, and I can cast this a very far ways. Okay, some of the other soft plastic jerkbaits, the Zoom Super Fluke, guys, is a fish catching lure as well. I have right here the Big Bite Baits jerkbait. I've been throwing this lately. This is actually my last bag. I've been through a couple bags, and so this is another one I've used as well. I've also, with it this year, just real quick, I have also use the hover rig on the flukes. I know Matt Steffens talked about it. Hover rig gives that great gliding action that is just a little different that the fish have not seen. And so I have enjoyed catching fish with the hover rig. I've not caught any giants with it yet with the fluke, but I was telling Johnny the other day, I've caught a lot of fish with it. With this fluke, let's say you're catching them at an area, and like what I like to do is target those post-spawn fish, those post-spawn areas, or it could be pre-spawn, definitely here in Arkansas or wherever you're at in the middle part to north part of the country. The points, let's say it's a point or secondary point, and you're catching them where, you know, you're letting it sink, fishing it back traditionally, twitching it real slow, catching the fish. After you feel like there's a good school of fish there, and they stop biting because they're used to the lure, or they've just, you know, kind of taken a break, when you leave them fish and come back, I like to take the tail off, okay, take the tail off to where there is a good enough thick spot, and then add the little spinner right here, okay. Now what this is the, as you see the brain right there, is the Humdinger power spinner, okay. It's a Keith Poche, you know, like I said, he's on there. Keith Poche, we all, who don't like Keith Poche? That dude's been winning tournaments out of an aluminum boat, okay, which has been pretty cool to watch. So what I like to do, like I said, when I go back those areas, cut that tail off and add this. What this does, adds a little bit of vibration, but it adds that flash, and it's something different that the fish do not see. So how many, you know, guys just asking you personally how many baits you see with these getting fished out there. So it's something different for the fish. I still have to let this sink slow. Now when it sinks, it's actually going to sink down because this is a little heavier. Okay, it's adding weight even with the hook. And then when you start jerking, it'll kind of go up. It'll still jerk in its spots, but it is a different little fall. A different, once again, you have the flash, and you also have the little bit extra vibration. After you have caught fish with it normal, come back, have the little modification, you'll put more fish in the boat.
Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back here to another edition of Bass Fishing Declassified. Thanks for taking a little time to join us for today's video. And got a really good tip for you guys today. We're going to be talking about fluke fishing and my favorite way to fish a fluke, which I don't think very many people do. So I'm going to give you guys some tips and advice and some juice on a technique that's been very productive for me. So anyway guys, the fluke or the soft plastic jerkbait, this has been one of the most highly productive bass catchers over the past 20-25 years. And most people fish it, just jerking along the top. They just rig it weedless and they just jerk it like a jerkbait. They call it the soft plastic jerkbait because it sort of works like a jerkbait. But the traditional way to fish a fluke is just like jerking it through the water, making it dart like that. Now some people Carolina rig it. There was like a pretty big movement of Carolina riggers in Texas, maybe 10 or 15 years ago. But guys, the way that I like to fish a fluke and the way that I've caught more fish on it than anything is by flipping it and pitching it into heavy cover. So this is a way that a lot of people don't fish a fluke. I'm going to show you how I rig it and talk a little bit about what you need to look for. So first of all, I like the green pumpkins or the watermelons. I mean, most flukes come in a shad color, but for flipping and pitching, I like some type of a darker color, like a watermelon green pumpkin. The next thing I do is I get a 3/0 Gamakatsu hybrid worm hook. Now guys, this is the key hook for this particular setup because it makes the bait set perfectly. Like I said, 3/0 EWG hybrid worm hooks, got a nano coating on it, needlepoint hook. This is a great hook for it. And then how I'm going to rig it here is you want to come in through the bottom part of it like this. I usually come through like about 1/4 of an inch, about like that. And then I'll come all the way through in the slit. It's really important to get it straight, guys, too, so the bait will fall correctly. And rig it up like that. Now, a lot of times what I do is I like to set it without sticking it back in. So if you rig it right with this particular hybrid worm hook, it'll set flat across the top like that. It's perfectly weedless, and when you set the hook, it gets them every time. So that's the setup. And normally I'm using anywhere between say a 3/16 and 5/16 ounce slip sinker. I prefer lighter because I get a lot more bites flipping the fluke on a lighter weight. So 3/16 is my favorite, but if you're trying to penetrate heavier cover or if the wind's blowing or something like that, you may have to upgrade to a little heavier weight, but this is the setup. And a lot of times I will put, maybe a little bit of orange or chartreuse dye on the tail, especially if the water visibility is less than 2 foot. So that's the rigging. Now let's talk a little bit about where you fish it. The flipping technique with this works in about any traditional type of a scenario that you'd flip a creature bait or a worm or a jig in. Flooded bushes are my favorite, obviously, but laydowns are good. Around stumps, boat docks are really good, and it works really good also around shallow vegetation. So if you have a lake that has water willows in it, gator grass, shallow milfoil, that type of stuff, it's really good. And guys, I've done really good flipping this around lily pads in Florida. If you guys have lakes that have lily pads in it, this is like money around lily pads. They really like it. But anyway, guys, it's just a way to fish it that a lot of people don't. The bass don't see this a lot. It's just a different looking profile, and it gets a lot of bites. I can assure you, it gets a lot of bites, and it gets quality bites too. So give it a try. I think you guys will really like it. See y'all next time.
Hey guys, Kyle Cordiana here with Bass Fishing Declassified. I'm going to talk to you today about a fluke style of bait that you may not be aware of, and you probably should. That is the Houdini Shad. So I'm going to show you why you need to know about this bait and some really cool opportunities this offers you as an angler, some techniques, little things you can do to tweak it up, make it a like fluke style bait on steroids. First off, they come in a lot of cool colors. This one here is the Arkansas Shiner. It's one of my favorite. It has the nice kind of brown back, just real natural looking color. What's unique about this fluke style bait is the Houdini Shad. It's a little bit bigger than the standard fluke style bait. And of course, don't forget, you can get over to lurenet.com, use my code Cordiana15, you get 15% off this pack of baits, and they give me a little kickback for sending the business. So help me help you. But is that tail? Check out that tail, right? So Yum also has the break-in shad, which is just a straight fork tail, but the Houdini Shad has this very unique tail. And if you look close, what you'll see is that it's perforated. It's really windy up here, but it's got perforation to it, so you can actually modify this bait on the fly to make it do several different things. So I've already modified this for you just a little bit, so you can kind of see what the different options are. So again, we've got it with no modification at all. This is going to create a slower rate of fall. That tail is going to be more buoyant as it's going to catch more water surface as it's slow falling. Here it is where you pull out the perforation, so you've got a hole in the tail. As you may know, you start putting holes in plastic, you get water displacement. So this is going to displace a lot more water. It's going to create this unique action to the tail that's going to look totally different than it did before. It's just simply by pulling that insert out of the perforation. This one here, I took my Bubba shears and I cut the tail, just that first quarter section of the tail off. So all I did, I just snipped it right down the half, right in the middle, just like that, and I pulled the perforation off. Now you've got a paddle tail. Literally, this thing, when you dart it through the water, will thump and paddle just like kind of a swimming worm would do. So you can do it like that. Or the last thing you can do, which I'll do it right here on the fly, you take this right here, and if you decide you want your normal fluke style bait with the forked tail, you just cut it right in the middle, and now you're left with that, and it's perforated. You pull the perforation out, and now you got your fluke style bait. So really cool things you can do with this Houdini Shad. It offers angler a lot of creativity, which I love that. How would I rig that? I'm talking about throwing this thing when the water temperatures start to get warmer. If you've got flooded bushes, things like that, this is ideal for this. I'm going to throw this on a 7.3 to 7.6. I like having a longer rod. I'm making long casts with this. I'm floating into flooded bushes. Could be clear water. Could be a little bit of stained water. But you're talking about baits getting up. You're talking about shad spawns going on. There could be perch and stuff in there. But anytime you got fish, targeting bait in shallow bushes, this is one of my favorite things to do. I throw it weightless. This is a Trocar Pro V bend. It says a straight shank offset, but it's a Trocar Pro V bend. This is a 5/0. You can throw it on a 4/0 or 5/0. That's ideal for this application. But what's unique about that is that Pro V bend that you see there at the end. It really helps keep fish hooked up. And again, you're just throwing it weightless. I'm typically going to throw it on 17 to 20 pound fluorocarbon, or I'll throw it on braid. If I can get away with braid when I'm throwing it in flooded bushes, then I'm going to get away with braid. You rig it just like any other fluke style bait. You're just going to worm it on there. The other thing that makes the Houdini Shad kind of unique is how much room it's got right here in the belly. So the hook section here, you've got it big open gaps here. And what that does is allows for better penetration when you're setting the hook. So you're going to rig that up, size it up, get that hook just out of the back of the Houdini Shad. And then because it has such a big gap in the belly, when you do go to set the hook, look how much hook comes out to grab that fish. And that's all because that belly's all carved out for you. So again, it's real simple. 17 pound, series 1 reel, 7.3 to 1 gear ratio. This is a custom rod I had by Kistler, but this is a helium blank. You could also use the Kistler KLX. Either of those are fantastic model rods. So get out there, have fun, and check out the Yum Houdini Shad. It's a little sneaky bait that most people don't throw.
Really quick, if you guys enjoy the content in this video and want more personalized instruction, head to our website, fishthemoment.com. Then go to the virtual lessons page. Here you can book one-on-one virtual lessons with each member of the Fish the Moment team. In these 1-hour lessons, the Fish the Moment team member will break down your lake using Google Earth and a contour line map and answer any questions you have. Whether you're preparing for an upcoming fishing tournament or a fun weekend on the lake, make sure you sign up for one of these one-on-one virtual lessons so you're fully prepared to catch as many fish as possible on the water.